30 Minutes with Ron. Hello, my name's Ron Gagliardi. I'm the host of 30 Minutes with Ron, and tonight I have a special guest. This person is a person I have known for some 30 years, having met in a very strange circumstance, which we may get into soon. Ladies and gentlemen, Joyce Saltman.
Hello, Ron.
And hello, ladies and gentlemen.
And hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. So, welcome aboard.
Well, thank you.
I'm sure you've been looking forward to this for about 2 minutes.
I have been waiting with bated breath.
You know they don't spell that B-A-I-T-E-D?
Oh, how do they spell it?
B-A-T-E-D. I don't know how that happened.
I
But
don't either.
that's going to be, we don't have to go into that. Okay, so how did we meet?
I have no idea.
We met at the Temple Beth David Synagogue
Yes.
about, 30 years ago maybe. And I was giving a talk. The talk was entitled, How to Air Your Clean Linen in Public. And it was all about how to get publicity for whatever project you were doing. And as my entry, I had a leash that had a metal rod in it and an empty collar on the other end. And you do this fooling around to make people think you have a dog there. But on mine, I had socks and, undershirts or whatever, and I walked in like this. So apparently you thought that was really cool.
That was really cool.
Because once this happened and the talk was concluded, you were interested in this Gagliardi fellow. And we met and we talked and we went to talks together, and we even had a thing called Smile a While Festival.
That's right.
Yes, our goal was to have a smile happen in Cheshire every day for a year. And then on the old Cox Communication channel, we could run a joke underneath with little printed words there.
Right.
That was one of the things that we did. So we had a lot of fun back in the day.
We certainly did when we were young, Ron.
We were young then, yes. Okay. So, other than that, who exactly are you?
Now there's a question. I think you're going to have to consult some higher power.
All right, not quite exact. How about approximately who are you?
Approximately.
Yeah, we don't have to go
Okay,
exactly.
approximately of the wonderful things that I can say, I gave birth to two marvelous children, both of whom were born in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. One conceived in Brooklyn, but born in Connecticut.
Is that a little TMI or never mind? Go
No,
ahead.
not at all.
All right,
not.
okay.
I was obviously married and living in Brooklyn at the time.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And they are both marvelous kids, and they each with fabulous people, and one has two terrific little grandchildren, and one has my favorite grand puppy, Daisy, who I take care of, and whose fur is all over me because I had her all day yesterday and today.
I know Daisy.
Yes, you do know Daisy.
Daisy's cool.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, well, Daisy comes to class with me on Wednesday nights, and my students love Daisy, I think more than me.
I've seen this.
Yes.
In person, yes.
And I've been teaching at Southern Connecticut State University in the Department of Special Education since 1975. And I retired, I think, 8 or 9 years ago, and I'm still able to teach there as an adjunct in the fall, and I'm teaching special ed teachers. And that is my favorite thing to do. Mm-hmm. And thanks to the Cheshire Library in Cheshire, Connecticut, right here in our very town, in 1983, I was asked by Maria Poirier if I would come and give a talk for a series they were running on healing. And they had somebody on Tai Chi and so on massage therapy, and I was doing stand-up comedy on Whitney Avenue, on Route 10, at Cass's Place, on one night a week. And I would use as my material things that were going on in the course of the week. And since I was doing therapy and also teaching and also doing comedy, she thought that I might know something about comedy and therefore would be willing to speak on the healing power of laughter. So she called me up and said, Joyce, would you be willing to do that? I said, sure. And when my husband Kopi came home, I said, honey, I'm going to be speaking at the Cheshire Library. He said, about what? I said, about the therapeutic value of laughter. And he said, well, that's wonderful. He said, what do you know about it? And I said, well, actually nothing, but I know how to read, and I know it's true. And I've always known it was true. I grew up in a family that very greatly valued humor and laughing together, and our family gatherings where we'd write funny songs. I would write these funny songs with my sister Terry, who unfortunately passed away some years ago, 13 years ago. But her son, Larry, is visiting me right now and living in Thailand the rest of the time. And Terry and I, and we just used to laugh a lot and do funny things. So I grew up in a family very strongly believing that humor not only keeps people together, but keeps people happier and passing more light around the world.
And we live in the house of gags, so I'm
Yes, I understand.
totally in with that. Now, you are also a doctor. You have a doctor of PhD something or other, however they say that.
Yes.
What do they say that?
Well, I am a doctor of education.
Education.
And my doctoral dissertation at Columbia University was on humor in adult learning. And it was really good to get research that indicates that everything I knew my whole life about how we learn better in classrooms where people are using humor, we feel more connected to the person who's, giving the talk. We feel better about the other people with us. We are more likely to take risks because we are less concerned about people laughing at us, because it's good to be laughed at.
Yes, indeed.
And it was wonderful writing that dissertation.
Okay, so now, since you're so into humor, I understand that you have made many presentations since that first one that Maria Poirier got you to do. And from what I hear from you, specifically, because you told me, you've been doing this all over the world for many years.
I have.
Tell our audience about this.
Well, since 1983, when Maria had me come to the Cheshire Library, the Cheshire Library, as we know, sends out their calendar of events to all the different cities nearby. So I got interviewed by 3 newspapers. The first time I ever gave that talk, I got interviewed by the Waterbury Republican, the New Haven Register, and the Hartford Courant.
The trifecta.
And that's right.
Yes.
I started getting phone calls the next day from insurance companies and school systems and state agencies. Would I come and speak for them? So that's how I became world famous in Connecticut. But I'm still doing about 100 lectures a year. And I have the checks all made out to my charities. So I'm very excited about that, because it gives me more money than I would have in my checkbook on my pension from Southern to be able to distribute to things that I really care about. And that's been great.
Name some of your charity, your favorite
Well,
charity?
one of them is the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp, and one of them is a little synagogue in Woodmont, the Hebrew congregation of Woodmont, where they charge no dues. People are invited for holidays, for anything, to come and partake and have lunch there and all good things, and there is no payment required, which is very unusual.
Yeah.
And one of them is the PAP Corps, which is cancer research. Actually, that one's in Florida. And one of them is Hadassah, which is in Israel and actually has the finest cancer research and medical research anywhere in the world other than the United States. So it's all good.
And I understand that there's a very large figure that has accrued to these accounts that you've given.
Yes,
Can you share that?
About 3 or 4 years ago, I added them up, and it's over $1 million. It was over $1 million 4 years ago, so I'm sure it's much over $1 million now, which is great.
That's amazing.
The places, by the way, internationally, I have spoken in Osaka, Japan, which is the humor capital of Japan. People don't always know that.
I never heard that, no.
They are known as the humor capital of Japan. I spoke in Bergen, Norway, in England. I spoke in Sydney, Australia. That was the most fun, because I didn't understand what the people were saying, even though they spoke English. So that was a lot of fun. I was telling Larry today, sometimes, because I do all over the country, I was speaking one time in Augusta, Georgia. And I'd never been to Georgia before at all. And the man who picked me up at midnight when my plane came in was the head of pediatric oncology at the Medical College of Georgia. So, I mean, we figure this guy is a really bright guy,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of credentials, picks me up at the airport, and he says to me, "And how's you fly?" And I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "How's you fly?" Now, I'm trying to figure out what could he be asking me. Obviously, it was a question when I had just come off the airplane, and I realized he was asking me how my flight was. How was your flight? And the whole entire weekend, I hardly understood anything that anybody was saying to me. It was unbelievable. The people had an incredible accent, unlike any I'd ever heard before, and no teeth, because that sweet tea in Augusta, Georgia is about 50% sugar and 50% liquid. And it's delicious, but it would definitely rot your teeth.
Oh dear, that's no good.
No.
Okay, so now with all this humor, you belong to a few humor associations.
I do.
What are they?
Well, I belong to the International Society for Humor Studies, which is how I got to speak at all of those conferences in different countries. And I'm very actively involved in the AATH, which is the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. And those are people, they're physicians and nurses and therapists and educators and people who really believe it's not enough to know how important humor is. You have to spread it. You have to use it in your everyday practice. And it is the most enlightening group of people I have ever known. And this year, the conference is in May in New Orleans. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And you received an award from them, from what I hear.
I did. I received the Doug Fletcher Lifetime Achievement Award. And that is given to somebody each year who they think does enough to spread humor everywhere. Kind of like manure, just
yes.
go to a lot of places
Yes.
and,
She was well known around the stables, all the horse manure.
Oh my God. It's so bad.
So bad. Well, let's go even worse than that. I figured something out today. I thought that there should be a contest between people like ourselves who each tell jokes in our various places that we go, and it should have a delightful title. This is going to be, we're going to actually do one now.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, yes.
You can tell.
This is called a joke off. So we're going to each tell a joke, and then the people who are at home are going to decide by their laughter, smiles, or giggles which one of the jokes happens to appeal to them the most.
Okay.
And they don't have to write in or anything like that. It's just a home thing, home-based.
Okay.
All right, so you get to go first.
Okay, well then I will tell you my favorite joke.
Your favorite joke, all right.
Okay, gentleman goes into the movie theater with his dog, and he sits the dog on the seat next to him. And he's sitting there. During all the sad scenes, the dog is crying his eyes out. And during all the funny scenes, the dog is laughing his ass off. Hopefully that was okay.
I think that's probably okay, yeah.
And at the end of the movie, the owner is exiting the theater with his dog, and the manager of the theater comes running down the aisle and says, "Wait, don't leave. I have to talk to you. I've never seen anything so remarkable in my life. Your dog understood every nuance of every emotional scene in this movie. I am amazed." And the dog owner looks at him and says, "You're amazed. I'm even more amazed. He hated the book."
All right, I laughed. Now let's see what happens with mine.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is one that I actually made up. Yes. And it was a couple of months ago. And I actually almost slapped myself when I made this up because I couldn't believe I hadn't thought it up before.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're near Halloween when this show is being taped. So why did the pencil go to the Halloween party wrapped in toilet paper?
I know the answer.
You do, because you've heard this joke.
I heard it in a different form, but
Yes.
it wasn't Halloween. But that's a very good joke.
All right. Should I reveal the ending, or do you want to reveal it?
Whichever you prefer.
All right, I'll go with the ending. The pencil went to the Halloween party wrapped in toilet paper because it was a number 2 pencil. All right, so then, in addition to this group, which, by the way, they left their 4 out of the Association 4, whatever it is, AATH.
Yeah.
They left the 4 out.
As a letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for articles like A, and, the. They leave them out of
Yes,
titles
it's
and
unfortunate.
acronyms. I don't like that at all.
Yes.
But I'll allow it in this case.
Okay.
Okay, so you are also in something called laughter yoga.
Yes,
Yes.
I am indeed.
And I participated in that with you, and it was very interesting.
It is wonderful.
Please reveal
Oh,
the
I will
origins
reveal.
and all that
Okay.
good stuff.
Well, laughter yoga was started by one Madame Kataria in India,
India.
the real India.
India, yes.
And they have thousands of people who gather all the time across all the beaches in India, and they do these exercises. And they're not like yoga. You don't get down on a mat. It's nothing excruciatingly painful. You're doing all kinds of movements and laughing during them. So it's very light on the exercise, but very heavy on the laughing. And it's wonderful. And of course, it's done together with a group, so we all laugh together. And then we go to breakfast. And our leader, Connie, Connie Pino, did as her. She is also involved in the AATH that I mentioned to you. And she is doing as her project, as a way to lighten up the world, this project for which I am wearing the button. And the button says UP, UP, which stands for Undercover Positivity. And what she wants all of us to do is when you're on a line or you're passing people in the street or in a supermarket and you see somebody, just don't say anything to them, just send them some positive energy. And we believe that by doing this little at a time, people will get more positive energy into the universe and we'll cheer people up. It'll make more people smile. And her cousin, by the way, has an organization like this, which he calls POO, which is the power of optimism.
Well, I can understand that.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I too have something like that. I used to call it no negativity in or out. And it was my personal philosophy, and there was no vengeance, no anger, no anxiety, none of that. And I was explaining it to a class at Cheshire High School, and I said, wait a minute, there's two negatives in there. You had no and negative in about positivity. So I immediately changed it. It is now called OPAO, only positivity in and out.
Excellent.
And it makes for a very happy life because you're not supposed to do anything wrong. Of course, if you talk to my wife, Diane, I know. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I discovered through one of our discussions that you can always find Ron in the middle of wrong.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah, it's always there. W, Ron, G. And I'm Ron G even, so it's even worse. My goodness. And let's see, now there was something else with humor. Isn't there another thing with humor besides the laughter yoga and the AATH? Wasn't there one other thing? No?
Off the top of my head, I cannot think of it, but
I'm sure it was there.
I'm sure it's there.
Yeah,
right?
it's very funny as well.
Yes, well, given I'm 76, I'm allowed to forget whatever it is that you don't remember.
Okay, very good. And on to the next thing.
Yes.
You are currently teaching at Southern Connecticut State
I
University, and you are teaching the course which is called?
Good question. Special Ed 525.
Special Ed 525. And what are the main components of the
main
Special Ed
components
525?
are we are working with teachers, most of whom teach special ed kids. And the course is really about dealing with children with severe emotional and behavior disorders.
That can be a tough class or group to teach.
So it's easier for those of us who raised children like that, but
All right. And so in this class, there are graduate students, right?
yes, they're
And
all teaching.
I've attended the class.
Yes, and you are a star student in that class, Ron.
Oh, really?
And everybody loves you.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Well, I pay them handsomely to say
I'm
things
sure
that-
that's true, right?
No, I actually, you were out for a week or so, and you chose me. I was so honored that you chose me to sub for you. And I was doing my best, and I was just getting to the really exciting stuff and doing numlets on the board. I think I drew one line, and the lights went out, and they never came back on. So all this good stuff that I had planned to explain, I gave everybody a folder with stuff that they probably didn't look at now. You have a copy, too. You probably didn't look at it.
No, not yet.
And so it was very dark. And that was probably one of the darkest moments of my teaching career.
Oh, God.
And I said, if the lights don't come on in 5 minutes, we're out of here. And they didn't come back
Well,
on.
they probably love you even more because those teachers are teaching from like 7:30 in the morning, and our class, as you know, doesn't end until 10 at night.
Yes,
So to have been able to get out before 10 at night, I'm sure was a great gift to all of them.
it was.
Yeah.
Okay, so now is there something that you want to share with the students of the world who are not taking your class? Something from the class that they might benefit from?
From the class.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, primarily, obviously, as the guru of laughter and one who is world famous in Connecticut and South Florida. And let us not
Oh, we didn't
forget
get to that
South
yet.
Florida, right. I really think that each one of us is here for a reason. And I have often thought that my missional responsibility, the reason that I am here, is to help people lighten up. And one of the ways you do that really is partly by avoiding energy suckers. So the people who really drag you down, it is a very good idea to try to spend less time with them, unless you're related, in which case you'll have to work it out. And more time with the people who are uplifting. And there are so many things going on in the world that really are positive, with people who really find the good in things. And I try to encourage people to find more of those people to have in their circle, because the best thing that we can do really is surround ourselves with positive people.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But now, by doing that, we are removing our positivity from those energy, well, I don't want to call them energy suckers, but energy absorbers.
That was, by the way, that was coined by a friend of mine, Steve Schmitz, who is a real doctor.
Oh, then
he's not a
okay.
PhD, he's
right,
an
we
RD,
can
a real
call him that.
doctor, right?
Okay, so we're removing ourselves from those people, and our beauty, our wonderfulness, our humor, they're missing out on that.
Well, not really, because those are the ones that we'll send the undercover positivity to.
Oh.
So you don't want to spend a lot of time with them, because what usually happens is they drag you down too. So
oh, that's so sad.
it is very sad.
Oh, darn.
It is very sad.
Now, you mentioned Florida.
Yes.
And you are what, is it what, a snowbird?
A snowbird, that's me.
Snowbird.
Right.
Okay,
When it
so
starts snowing, I go to Florida.
you go to Florida. And you take the auto train a lot, from what I
I
understand.
do. Well,
Yeah.
just once.
Well,
once each
a
way.
lot. Well, that's one. That was close to a lot.
Yes.
Okay, so on the auto train, do you just kind of sleep a lot? I mean, what do you do on an auto train?
Well, you get on, it starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
From what state?
And they serve dinner from Virginia.
Okay.
And they serve dinner. And then people usually bring their computers. They used to show movies, but not anymore, because people bring their own computers. And then you sleep, in my case, sitting up. And by 8:30 or 9 in the morning, you arrive in Florida. They give you breakfast first. You get off the auto train, and you get your car, which has been on the auto train. And you drive the rest of the way.
Cool.
It's perfect.
And you don't have to pay anybody to drive the car down there?
That is true. You pay the auto train to drive the car down.
Now, when you say you're world famous in Connecticut,
Yes.
you're also world famous in Florida.
I am, yes.
You do a lot of talking down there.
I do.
And they understand you. Even.
They do.
They
do, because half of them are from New York in the first place.
Now, do you have different topics because people from Florida are somewhat different? Or?
Different than in Connecticut? No, honey. They
same?
all
They all laugh at the
No,
same?
but actually, I do more singles groups in Florida than I do in Connecticut.
Huh.
So, and that's a lot of fun. I mean, those are, the fact of the matter is, the people where I live in Florida are mostly in developments. They're 55 and over,
Right.
active communities. So the people are very bright, and many of them are still working in various places.
Okay.
And they get together and, they have book reviews, they have current events, they have all kinds of things, tennis, and so on. And that is a lot of fun. But many of the people have lost their spouses, and therefore they are single again. And they get together, and this way you have people to do things with, you have people to go to concerts with, you don't have to do everything by yourself. And I speak for a lot of those groups. And what's really fun about that is my husband died a little over a year ago, and shortly after, at the year ending, I went onto a site, a dating site.
Uh-huh.
And I figured, if nothing else, I'm going to get material for speaking to my singles groups. And the very first one gave me my perfect material. The guy wrote, "I am very athletic and intelligent," and misspelled intelligence. So I figured I was on the right track now. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's a lot of fun. The name of this particular website, which has been very nice, the people I've met have been extremely nice, but it's called Our Time. And my birthday was July 24th. I was having dinner with my daughter for my birthday. And I said to her, "Beth, tomorrow I'm going on to Our Time." And she thought I said out of time.
Oh. Now, that would be a wonderful group to belong to.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, now I see by our clock over there, that's right over there, we have 4 minutes and 23 seconds left in our conversation.
Okay.
Now, I want to make sure that if I missed something, that this would be your opportunity to come up with whatever that might have been.
Ron, you have never missed anything in your life. That is one of the things I've always loved about you. Is
I see.
You get into every nook and cranny of important things.
Important things.
I think, bottom line, I mean, if I were going to leave a message, my message really is, if you do nothing else in the course of your day but help one person smile, or better yet, laugh, then it's been a good day. And I love to laugh, and I love to be with people who love to laugh, and it's a good life.
It is. Now that reminds me, I now have something else for this other 4 minutes. You tend to go to a lot of movies and plays and concerts. Why is that?
because it gets me to go places with my friends, even though I don't have a partner. But when I did have a partner, my partner and I went with a lot of friends. And we always go together in the car, and we always have dinner first or after, depending on if it's a matinee or an evening show. So we have a whole social event, and to me, socializing happens to be, according to all the research, the #1 way to live a longer, healthier, happier life is by having social people to deal with. And that is the #1 most important thing, is to spend time with other people, particularly other people who you love.
I never knew that.
Well, there you have it.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And that also reminds me, since you are a humorist, you don't consider yourself a comedian.
I am certainly not a comedian.
So you're a humorist?
Not funny enough to be a comedian.
Not funny enough.
Except in looks, as...
No, I would never say that. I would never even think that. So you are probably an expert on what is funny. What is your favorite movie of all times, comedy movie that's funny?
Oh, wow.
Because hopefully a comedy movie would be funny.
Well, The Producers was up there.
Oh, that's Zero Mostel?
And yeah, and Mel Brooks wrote it.
And Springtime
Brilliant. For Hitler in Germany. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I've seen.
I saw that on Broadway too, and when they made it to a movie, they did a good job.
Yeah, that was a very funny movie.
Very funny.
And how about your favorite humorous play? That might have been even
That
the
was
play.
my favorite.
That was the
humorous
play
one.
and the movie.
I went off the top of my head. And my favorite comedian was Buddy Hackett,
Oh, yes.
who was the funniest man in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss him. I love a lot of the comedians that are out there now, but Buddy Hackett was in a class of himself.
Okay, of those who are out there now,
Yes.
let us know who is that person, female or male, or both.
Well, I don't have just one, but there are many that I really love. I love Rita Rudner and Elaine Boozler, both of whom are females, obviously. And I really love Gilbert Gottfried and Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
These are very funny, clever people. And I love Ray from Everybody Loves Raymond. He does stand-up comedy, and he's really funny. He tells the story about having twins, and the best thing about it is he's saving money because he takes a photograph of one of the kids and he says the other one looks just like this.
I guess that's true. It's got to be true. All right, I'm told that 1 minute is left. Any final thoughts?
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Have a great
Farewell.
day. Have a great night.
Have a great night.
And laugh a little extra.
OPAO, thanks for tuning in.